me what should I do to make a successful crowdfunding campaign, I often point to him. He has a tremendous amount of energy and has focused it amazingly well. He made this really cool product that has behaved from a. I'm just looking at the matrix kind of in the background, watching sales go by, and this looks very different than most products, right? Where it's being sold, who's buying it, what the run rate is. He's doing a tremendous job. He's going to share some of those gems of wisdom with us now, and how he made the Openterface campaign as successful as it was. Thank you, Billy.
Okay. So first of all, thanks for the opportunity, and thanks for organizing this amazing teardown. And I'm second time here. And okay, so today I'm going to talk about my little guy here, which is called Openterface Mini-KVM. So I'm going to go through my story, how I did a crowdfunding campaign, and then I will highlight a little bit points. So first of all, a little bit about myself. So my name is Billy Wang. I studied in the UK about 15 years ago. And then actually, I'm not a hardcore tech guy. My major was management. But I did start learning how to code and how to do design and all kind of things. Actually, I'm curious about many skills. So especially nowadays, we have ChatGPT. So I did quite a lot of vibe coding. Right now, they code it like. So I'm passionate about open source, AI, and design. And about 7 years ago, I started my own company. So my company was did lots of tech art project, which is for artists. Quite a lot of fun things, like something like coding the robot to dance and do musical and with artists. So lots of LED lights, that kind of things. So so what is Openterface Mini-KVM? Basically, it's come from a hustle we have a lot in our previous project. Quite often, we find so difficult to troubleshooting whatever the single board we use for our tech art project, especially outdoor and also in exhibition center. And there's a quite crazy example is that we have an example that we need to test our robot dog in desert. And in such case, you won't have Wi-Fi. And yeah, you can bring your Wi-Fi router, but it's never stable. So you still need to plug in the monitor and keyboard and mouse to do some sort of troubleshooting. So in such a case, we start thinking about how to make it easier, because quite often we have our own laptop. So that's a simple idea, just want to turn our own laptop to control the single board computer, just plug and play. So as I say, this is quite matter, because in such a case, we don't want to waste our time. We just want to plug and play. And probably no need to do many things, just enter a few lines and then make things happen. So later on, we find out this also ideal for IT pro and system admin and tech guy like us in the past, and maker and developer who deal with a lot of single board computer. So this is a simple example how we use it. So turn our own laptop into a KVM console and controlling the headless device on the left. So in order to make our little gadget work, we do need software, and we have our own software, which is support Windows, macOS, Linux, and Android. And so how our crowdfunding campaign did, I think it's pretty well. And just exactly 1 year ago, we finished the campaign. And back then we have around 1,100 backer. And right now, just yesterday, we got 2,700 backer. But in fact, I guess we already have around 3,000 users, because some of the they order more than 10 or even 100. So I think approximately right now we have 3,000 users. So what are the critical factors in crowdfunding? And well, I think really it's about 4P, so which is product, price, place, and promotion. Well, I will come back here later to like summarize this a little bit, but right now let's just dive right into our Mini-KVM, our story. So first of all, how we brainstorming this concept idea and how to analyze it and why we decide to go crowdfunding. So as I say, I mean, in the past we need to deal with a lot of critical moments to do the troubleshooting for a single board computer. Quite often we have this kind of thing in our backpack, which is a mini keyboard, and also this middle one is some monitor we create by ourselves, like with a battery, which is you can display anything through HDMI. And then later on, we changed it to a video capture card, which is basically display things as a webcam. So I got this idea around September in 2023. So I started drawing the diagrams, how to basically combine this thing into a little gadget. Well, right now we got it right here. So the idea actually is not something complicated, just combine things together. So after I draw this graph, actually I was not sure about it. I'm not sure whether somebody else needed it. And also, actually back then, the challenge for me is I need to motivate my colleague. I mean, even though they not sure whether this thing is needed. So that's why I draw that thing to try to convince. You have to sell the idea to your teammate first. So I did some research, and then I started understanding that this term quite close to our solution, which is called KVM, refer to keyboard, video, and mouse. Although this term a little bit like, how to say, vague in a way, but not exactly the same, but I think this is the concept which is the closest what we want to do. And then when I really look into it, this concept has many terms. People probably know the most is KVM switch, and hardware KVM, software KVM, and remote control, and even something called crash card. Back then, I had no idea what it means, crash card. I mean, I think only Americans know that. I mean, I find out a lot of Europeans also don't know this term. So, but this is very interesting term. And then once you understand those terms, you will find that actually there are many similar solutions, although they're not exactly the same, but you get it. I mean, those are the products out there. So you start doing researching what's their price and how people comment about it. So you start trying to understand the position, all this kind of thing, how they persist themselves in the market. So it's a very simple way to understand it better. Is that first I draw this as y. So y is a price and x is a functionality, and which is also mean complexity. And then you start understanding you have this line which is performance to price ratio. So in other words, it means market expectation. And this line, you never know where this line exactly is, but you kind of have a feeling that somehow, somewhere is something like this or that. Because even the same product, some people think quite expensive, but some of people might think it's cheap. So this line is not exactly one line, it's just an area. And then you start understanding whatever things on this side is like, people will say, ew, it's expensive, I'm not going to buy it. And those sides is like, take my money. But of course, you never really can far from this line, because that means you need a higher cost to produce it. So you never really far away from that line, somewhere, between those areas. So I start putting, whatever already exists in the market. So this one is very popular, which is called IP KVM, which is Pi KVM, basically. This is the name. So back then, somewhere a lot of people want to buy it. It's super popular. As long as people is home lab, they all know this product. This is open source. So I draw the graph, place it somewhere over there, and then there's another product which is on Cow Supply, which is called PyCast. This guy is very clever. So basically, it's exactly same solution as MkDocs, but he add a little bit feature out of it. So this is the part you can understand. It's a little bit tiny smart feature he add, and then he sold it at a lower price, and then it got so popular and quite successful. I think, yeah, that's PyCast. So this is how I think we should understand whether the concept should go crowdfunding. You just need to work on that tiny bit improvement and then lower a little bit lower price, and then you have a higher chance to be successful. But you have to understand that that line will change after you launch your product, because you launch the product, then you change the dynamic of the market. So basically, the line basically is changed like that direction. So which is mean the MkDocs become expensive. People start complaining that, oh, I'm not going to buy that, because I have something cheaper in the market. So, and the closest product compared to our solution is true. So back then, there's something called press card, selling at around 400, and then something also quite similar, which is sold at this price, $79. So what I need to do is basically I need to play somewhere here. As long as my product is somewhere here, then I'm quite confident that I can make a sell. So that's how I place myself in terms of how to pricing it. So the next step is I ask my partner, which is Kevin Pang, our tech lead, to break down my concept into what kind of component we need. Because this is the step we're trying to understand how much we need to produce this solution. So for him, it's just he's trying to do research what kind of chip we need, what kind of processor, that kind of thing we need in order to design the PCB board. So I start listing out the cost. For this part, I mean, the first part here is the cost. I think is quite easy to manage. Not manage, I mean, quite easy to analyze. So the first part is basically production cost. So how much we need for the PCB board. And then we also want to sell it as a toolkit, because not only our product, we want to make it really convenient for a tech guy. Not only like our product, I also have a reliable cable. So we decide to also take a little bit difficulty to look for the keyboard which is work with our device well. We make sure that before we ship it, because especially USB cable nowadays, they are so different. I mean the quality. So for this part, it's quite easy to manage, because you basically just look for a supplier. You need somebody to, well, basically you search through the Shenzhen list, and then you trying to ask them to give you the quotation. So in this way, you can get a quite clear, well, at least quite easy to predict how much for the production cost. And then, of course, the cost for cow supply, and also quite easy to calculate. And I think it's seriously worth it. And the cost we cannot really make sense of back then is tariffs. And of course, I mean, Jobs already give quite clear answer for that. And back then, we wasn't sure about that. But this is something we had to deal with it. So I just put a number on that. And then another cost we don't know is transport fee. And again, this is something you cannot avoid. Just put it there and put a question mark. You will figure it out later. And then also advertising. Back then, I do want to have some budget for each item to to try advertising, for example, like through Google or Facebook or wherever. So I do want to have some budget for advertising. So I put this item there as well. But there's some course I really cannot make sense of, software course. Back then, I just like, well, the good thing is that software course, they are not like, you have to pay immediately, but you need to manage. Well, anyway, this is something you have to keep in mind that you need to be careful with. And of course, and many other courses is quite difficult to allocate, but again, it's really about management during the journey. So in this sense, I got the number that we got this 15 percentages. Oh gosh, I mean, the time just fly. And just trying to be quick. So then we start building it, the MVP. Once we got the MVP, we should start looking for feedback and validation, but don't rush into that. Before that, you really need to do is waiting list and website. And I would highly suggest just use Google Form. And for this sense, you need to collect their email address so that you can tell them what is going on with your progress. And then you should ask some question which is you not sure about the feature. They will tell you. So let them to vote for it. And then when you build a website, I highly recommend don't pay for any survey. Basically just host by yourself through Google, through GitHub page. It's free. And also use MkDocs material. I highly recommend these things you might look into later. It's a well-documented documentation website. You can host so easily on GitHub. And then another thing you should do is remember to add Google Analyst so that you can understand your traffic later. It's very crucial. And then you can start posting your story. And I just asked around my friends in this couple of days how to make sense of the social media nowadays. And obviously, I don't have answer for that. It's so complicated right now, so many social media. But what worked for me is that I start with X. And also posting the article on Hackaday and Hester, that kind of website, and wait and see how it goes. But really hit me is that Reddit. Reddit, I somehow find the right community. And back then, it's just so hilarious that I didn't say anything. I just posted one picture, how basically I just showing off that we make a new case. That's it. I'm not saying anything, just saying that. And then people, they already understand what I'm trying to do. I didn't explain anything. I just labeling, this is HDMI, this is target, and that kind of thing. They already can guess it. So you can, and this give a huge confidence, and this give credit for me to convince some of my teammates to use their energy to make this happen. And then that also the point we start apply for submit our application to Crowdsupply. We decide to go to Crowdfunding. And then you will see that when you hit the right community, people give you so much feedback. Even though some of the feedback you can see that they don't really understand it, but they give a lot of comments. That's a good thing because you will know how to design your FAQ. And some of people also might be give you a critical, even criticizing kind of comment. I love that. I love that seriously. It's make me think even clear what is my target customer. There was a lot of moment that I feel so sad because I see some of the product they're doing so well and what's the point of my product. But when they criticize your product, you start understand they are not your customer. What kind of real customer you are, you should focus on the real audience. So, and then you start having all this kind of data, what software they want, what feature they really want. So this really help you to prioritize your limited resource on what is matter to do first. And then on my Google Form, also a lot of people provide their GitHub account and then trying to say that they can be a tester, that kind of thing. I think it's great because I'm going to take advantage of that. Let me show you. Anyway, before that, you can see you have all kind of data. You can see where those traffic come from and and most of them are, well, because the English word mostly is American, German, and German very good at English. So and then British. So basically, those are the most traffic at the beginning. And then I started doing a little bit more. Is that I started doing the branding. Back then it was the launch of ChatGPT, and I was heavy user start from the beginning. I used ChatGPT to produce image, to produce contents. So this is the website, and then this is FAQ. So remember that we have lots of comments back there. So I just need to copy all of the comments and then feed it to the ChatGPT, and the ChatGPT can help me to organize all this content very nicely into FAQ. And back then, I even got a long email to say, "Oh, Billy, wow, you are so serious about this. I mean, this is the first time I see such a detailed FAQ." You know, and then of course I had to say that don't trust ChatGPT completely. You have to do your own review before you launch it, and which is I did it. So yeah, I take that comment. I mean, I did put my effort. So you start because we start our pre-launch page. You can already see how many people subscribe your product. So back then it's just like this. Every jump basically is the article I post on either Reddit or some other community. But to be honest, back then still very slow, because before we launched the official page, we need to at least 200 subscribers. Back then we kind of stuck around like 150. But I'm telling you, don't get up. Just keep posting, because it's very important to have footprint, because later on people will check your history. So this is still crucial. It's just you haven't hit the point to increase quickly. So the point start, having rocket is the one British KOL start approaching us, and then he say, "Oh, I love your concept. Please send one of the 2K for me for review." And that start, crazy that the traffic just coming in. And he surprisingly make a half hour of so careful review, and so careful that some of the point I didn't think of back then. So this is crucial, useful. And then second thing remember some people, they say they want to be a tester. So I start launching this program is that I will start giving out freebie, because this is very crucial. Because come on, you are new brand out of nowhere, especially me. Come from China, So you have to build your reputation. How to build your reputation? Let people see it. Let people use it. So that's why I decided to give out freebie to some early user, and then show it. Before you ship it out, take nice picture and show people how it looks like. And this really get people excited. Might be the first round still not that excited, but people already seeing it. The second round is really important. So I give in total 3 rounds of freebie. And once people start receiving my device, they start posting things. And then this is the moment you should start your community, trying to gathering those early users to your Discord or Reddit. And then for the second round, I saw a guy super interesting, a Japanese, saying that, "Oh, I'm working in IT industry and really like your product or something." And then I start thinking, "Oh, okay, I might try Japanese market." So I start highlight this guy and then ship it to him, it turned out it's just amazing, because Japanese love sharing things online. And then once he have it, and then he posts it immediately, and then that slowly, lots of Japanese start getting to know my device. And then later on, I decided to set up a Japanese X account and also Japanese website. Well, again, ChatGPT is very easy, so it's nothing crazy anymore. And then David also played crucial role, because again, I'm come from nowhere again, from China. Okay, I mean, I'm trying to get into the English spoken market, then I need credit. And David, thank you again. Start helping us to host the first live streaming, because this is very important, because you start having those kind of popular magazine reporting. It did give me some great credit, and people start trusting us. We can deliver soon in the future. So, and then another thing you will see is that that's a good thing about Cloud Supply, because when your product launch it on the first page, front page, actually there are many robots. They, constantly looking at the website and see what kind of new project it come up, and then some of the robots they just we freeze your article a little bit, and then we post it, and then that also give you a credit for SEO. That's also very important, and but right now I had to skip it, kind of unpack the detail. Let me show you how's the things change later. So this was before the launch, and then this is the launch point already there. So this rocket increase here is by the British video over there. It start increasing crazily, and then I start deliver freebie, and then you will see that the subscriber just jump so quickly, and that is the point that you feel confident that you going to be succeed. And then of course come to Teardown, because people want to see you, in person, and that's also great to give the great credit. Okay, so there's a do I still can finish this one? Okay. So back here is what is a 4P. So I just want to say that really for our product, we're trying to solve problems. So focus on solving a real problem, and also trying to make it useful, but not just clever. You really need to understand what other people need. So that's why you have to read carefully through the comment, trying to understand why they say something like that. So understand the real need. And then start, trying to test it earlier with your target user. And then price, well, I just skip it, but Jobs also mentioned very important point is that sustainable is very important. So not just underprice your product. So Cloud Supply is super ideal for open hardware because the ecosystem. So for the promotion, again, start earlier and share often, and also trying to make your content quality. And also honest communication with your future user is really important, because that builds trust, and trust will convert later. And then a few more points I want to highlight is that we have super limited resource. We cannot do everything. So trying to get things done instead of perfect. And also that means we need to make trade-off. And then also learning by doing. Don't afraid of something you're not familiar with. Just do it and learn it. But try not sidetracking. It's very easy sidetracking. So again, just getting done. And then getting done, but trying to do it smart. And smart meaning trying to use efficient tool like ChatGPT, that kind of thing. So next challenge I have basically is production, but this is probably next time I'm going to share. There's a lot of things to share as well. So thank you. This is my contact information, and yeah.
We'll take a few questions. David. How do you manage to make time or kind of justify to yourself the communication? Because I see a lot of campaigns that are like, well, we can't say anything yet because if we tell them it's going to be bad news, this doesn't look good, so I don't want to say anything, so I need to spend time. Like, they get caught in this loop of kind of like not wanting to talk about stuff because it's bad news, but then the silence also creates more tension.
Well, I think just tell them honestly. What is going on? They actually, the good thing about the user on Cloud Supply is they have high tolerance, and then they not only have high tolerance, they actually help you. Later on, I got lots of people help me. You just say what is your problem. People will jump in and help you, because we are open source. But so that's why we need to well document and also be honest. Yeah.
I think as an entrepreneur, you have to wear like multiple hats. And one thing you called out was 200 units. Like that is a metric that you have to aim for, maybe for profitability or something. When you find that you're responsible for all of these things, how do you keep track of that? You know, in terms of coming up with that value, all of you have to deal with just it's a lot to take on. How do you balance that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not sure I understand your question, but I constantly imagine what's going to happen next in a couple of months. And in my head, it's constantly trying to play the movie, going to happen. And then once you know that, and then you look at today, I mean, what you got, then you just use what you got. And then I think everything will come in place. But you have to keep playing the movie in your head, planning for.
I'm just curious, now that you have this kind of experience launching this product, for somebody who wanted to launch into a crowd supply for the first time, when would you suggest engaging a crowd supply or reaching out over the course of this process? When would be like a good time to start talking about a crowd supply folks?
Yeah, actually, according to the timeline, I started collecting my own contact before I reach crowd supply. So I think it's very crucial that before you contact crowd supply, you should have your website already, and then have your own waiting list, and then start posting things. And then you should do validation by yourself first. When you feel confident that you already have more than 200 people, you know, on your list, then you should go for it. Otherwise, I think it's going to be quite difficult because if you contact them just without anything, and then very difficult to build the traffic to come in that website. So when I launched my pre-launch page, I already have a pool of contacts to ask them to go to our supply to click the button of subscribe. So I think it's very important that you do your own job before. And then, although, I mean, when you get into power supply program, although they have really clear instruction, I think it's super helpful. But quite interesting is that I already play the movie in my head already. And then I just feel so easy for me, those kind of steps. So, yeah.
To add to that, what Billy says is absolutely true. At the same time, there's no too early. Because the worst thing we're going to say is, this needs to change or that needs to change. And like Billy said, like the instructions we give, you tend to walk away with something, even if it's not a campaign, right? And a lot of times, you walk away, somebody, we give feedback, we're like, yeah, this isn't quite ready for whatever reason. They come back 4 months later, and it's totally right? So I think it depends on the person. I will say, I realize what's different about Openterface after listening to Billy's talk is that the advice I give to people is, in some ways, the opposite of what Billy did, right? Billy found a lower price point, he found an amazing price point, and he added more value. I'm like, that's hard to do. You should just add more value and make it more expensive, right? And I think that illustrates how unique Billy is in a way, because that is a very hard thing to do, and he totally nailed it. So I fully agree with all the advice he just gave. He did an exceptional job.
Thank you. Thanks for